just the cost of distribution and generation of electricity, for example, but it includes
which is their core business, right? Their core business is like they generate the electricity or they buy it from somewhere and then they distribute
it. They distribute it to your house. You turn on the lights and you're using it, right? But what most people don't understand is that there are many other aspects of a utility company's work that are wrapped up in that rate. So, for example, if I receive a rebate from my utility company for installing an electric vehicle charging station in my home, the money for that rebate comes from all the other ratepayers.
Can you explain to us, like, how much is that and how does it work?
Yes. So it's a pretty significant chunk of what we pay. I don't have like a perfect breakdown for you, and the different utility companies, it breaks down differently for PG&E, say, than for San Diego Gas and Electric. But I can tell you, for example, that some of the subsidies that we provide rooftop solar customers who have rooftop solar on their homes, can be anywhere from $30 to $50 a month per customer, which is a lot.
So you're saying that each when we pay our utility bill, because certain people have solar on their roofs, we have nothing against the solar, but it does. The way we subsidize it, the average person is paying $30 to $50 more to subsidize them.
Yes. So those folks who don't have rooftop solar, so let's say I don't have rooftop solar, but you do, you receive the retail price on energy that you send back into the grid for other people to use, right? Because let's say you're producing so much energy that during the day, you can't use up all that energy. So that energy goes back into the grid and somebody else gets it. Well, you get paid the retail price for that energy that you put into the grid. And let's just say it's about 30 cents per kilowatt hour that you get paid for that energy that you put into the grid. Well, if we were getting that energy from a solar field, right, where we have massive amounts of solar energy coming in through either community solar or a solar grid, and not from rooftop solar, we pay 3 cents per kilowatt hour. So there's a huge inequity, especially because not everybody can put solar panels on their homes, right? It's expensive. Renters can't always they don't own the property. Or sometimes you have people, for example, my parents, their home is old. It's it's a small home. Their roof couldn't support it. The structure itself can't support it. And then there are people who live in the shade. I mean, why are we creating programs that are inequitable, where everybody has to pay into it, but only some people can benefit from it?
You mentioned the EV. So, so if I want to put a charging station at my home, the utility company pays for it? How does it work?
Not always, but sometimes there are programs where, for example, San Diego Gas and Electric had a very robust residential charging incentive program where they actually would install the infrastructure and the charging station in some of their customers' homes and gave them incentives to do this. Well, all of the rest of their customers subsidize that. Does that make sense?
So if I put one in my house, if my neighbors don't have them, all the neighbors that don't have them, they have to pay more to pay for mine.
Yes. And not just residential charging stations, but charging stations. The investor-owned utilities in California have come up with these schemes to install thousands of charging stations throughout the state. And again, at Turn, we support this. We support reaching our clean energy goals as soon as possible so that we can mitigate climate change. However, think about it this way. Let's say, I don't know, Edison installs 100 charging stations throughout their service territory in Southern California. All their customers are paying for that, right? Like those costs are socialized into the electricity rates. But even people who aren't customers of Edison get to use those. So there are plenty, for example, of LADWP customers who might find themselves in a place where there's a charging station that was paid for by Edison's customers. They benefit, but they didn't pay into it. So there's